It's 5 o'clock somewhere, but right now, you rocking with Noonish.
I feel like I'm the last man standing. 4-5 sitting on my dresser like a bandit. Oh my, why you scared? There ain't no need to panic. I'm on a wave that could sink the Titanic.
Woo! I love staying in shape, especially when I run out of booze. I gotta run to the liquor store. But I never go anywhere without my shot sock. That's right, the shot sock. You might think it's funny, but, well, it is funny. Enjoy. The shot sock for the man in your life who wears socks.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to an episode of Noonish. Right on time, always. I don't care what time it is. Period. Great show. Great name. Attaboy. I'm your host,
Never late.
Anderson, a.k.a. J.A., man. Excited about today's show. Got to switch it up a little bit on you. We are sports and tech, but today we are tech and sports, man. Got the man in the building. But first, let's get to our co-host. We got our special, awesome, always running from you and running to you, Mr. Man. But yeah, and then also half man, half amazing, always fun, catching everything thrown at him, Mr. Mark Clayton in the house.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Catching everything.
And man, we got the man that's gonna learn you. What the hell's a blockchain? I don't know, but we're about to figure it out. Mr. Omar Syed, man. Thank you so much for coming to join us today, man. You excited to be here?
Oh, totally, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good show, man. Got a lot to learn from you today, man. I'm gonna sit back. You know, typically I'm asking a lot of questions on the mix. I'm gonna sit back today.
I got the notepad going right now.
Yeah, I got a few questions to ask, but man, I mean, just can you kind of introduce yourself, tell everybody about yourself, and why you are known as this expert in the blockchain space.
Oh man! All right. Well, I mean, I could go on for a while talking about myself.
Hey man, I want to hear it.
Give us a little bit.
All right. My background is in computer engineering, computer science. I started my career working at Raytheon. Back in late 80s.
So for everybody out there, what does Raytheon do?
So Raytheon's a defense contractor.
Which means what they do, what they build.
They make missiles.
They'll blow your ass.
Missiles. Equipment for the government.
Yeah.
So my first job was out in Boston, working for the Missile Systems Division.
Man.
Worked on some of the chips that went into the Patriot missile. That was pretty cool stuff. Yeah.
That was tracking. That's awesome. That one tracks, right?
Yeah, that's the one that they used to knock down the Scuds. During, I don't know if you guys remember that. The war that we had with
I'm that old.
Hussein and that. Yeah. You guys might be young for that,
That's awesome. Yes.
Right. So
did you have anything to do with that? Did you program those missiles or?
Not. I was on the some of the teams that worked on those.
That's awesome.
So you're an actual rocket scientist.
Well, yeah, I got to be more of that. Then once I joined NASA.
Oh, nice.
So around 1990, I joined NASA. Yeah. Worked there for 10 years. I worked in their research analysis center. We used to help the principal investigators with analyzing their data from experiments that they would be running. And during that time, mid 1990s time frame, NASA had internet, from
way back,
early,
right?
40s. So,
50s,
before internet became commercial. And
we actually talked about that a little bit last week.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so I got interested in what was going on with the World Wide Web and all that, and I started setting up some web servers at NASA, showing that to my bosses and things like that, and they're like, well, why do we need this? But I was there at NASA when we launched the first Mars rovers, and I was part of the web team at NASA at that time.
Yep.
And as soon as we started getting the pictures back from Mars, our servers got like smashed. Because it was just, you know,
too much.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
we were getting like millions of, you know, downloads.
Oh yeah.
Going on because everybody
Didn't have
wanted to.
enough
Like, that
bandwidth.
was the first time, you know, people got like high definition color
Yeah.
pictures from
Yeah.
Mars, right? And so,
How long did it take y'all to make that adjustment to be able to withhold that?
well, our
Expand the
servers
bandwidth.
went down at first.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
And we had to like, you know, figure out how to, you know, deal with that.
No cloud back then, huh?
Right,
All
exactly.
on-prem
You
thing.
didn't have like AWS or, you know,
Right.
scalable
Right.
infrastructure.
Yeah.
So we had to figure it out ourselves.
Mhm.
And that kind of helped me get, you know, familiar with how to build scalable systems.
Mm.
And then I had my own company going on the side. It's called 4UNet Services. Started out doing just like web development stuff for local businesses. So this is like, you know, mid 1990s.
Right.
Web was just
Wow.
getting started.
Yeah.
How much did it would cost? How much would I, as a local business, pay to have a
man.
website? Like, what's that? Mean?
Anywhere from $100 to $1,000, something
Man,
like that.
that's
Yeah, it was pretty cheap.
Yeah. Nobody knew what it was.
Right.
Right? That's a heck of
Yeah.
a sell, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you really had to know what you were talking
Right,
about to even
right.
sell that product back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but there wasn't a lot of people that
Yeah.
did it.
It was
and
an
so
open
was
market,
easy.
yeah.
But then, you know, very quickly it started getting
There was
saturated because
competition. And, yeah.
everybody was opening up a company to, you know, help you make web pages and get your
Right.
business online.
Yeah.
But we were like one of the very first ones. in like
Did you have any
1995,
patents or anything that nobody else could touch?
That's something that you can't really patent.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it'd be nice too to be
Yeah.
able to, you know.
Right, right.
Dope.
He
Yeah.
wouldn't be here today.
Put a patent on
Yeah.
Oh, he absolutely
Absolutely.
would be here. That's the type of organization we run. You want to
Because we're always on time.
Exactly.
So yeah, so you know we were doing that, and so with that it helped started helping like some businesses with you know scaling their internet. Its own company that I started was like a matrimonial service for the Asian Indian community,
Okay.
and that took off way more than I thought it would.
Oh, wow. Was it like a Tinder? Like
Yeah, except for marriage-minded
I was like,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, marriage-minded
More
people.
about Ashley Madison. What's it called?
Yeah, that is not marriage minded. Well, it is marriage minded in a
That's
sense.
other end of the spectrum.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's awesome, man.
I went
Gotcha.
straight to farm mingle or whatever it is. It's like-
Farmers only.
Yeah, farmers
Oh, they
only.
got a farmers only, Jews only,
Right.
Man, are you serious?
little people meet.
Wow.
They got a whole list of them, bro.
That's crazy.
It's good to know that you've researched this for us.
Yeah.
I know them all. All the dating
Little
apps.
people network.
They got a little people
Oh,
network.
that's
bro.
awesome.
We have farmers too.
Can't discriminate.
Nah.
Yeah, so I had started that, and then you know that was making like a lot more than I was making at NASA, and so I just like, started focusing on that.
Oh, so it wasn't
Fair
about
enough.
the love. I thought it was about the love of the science.
It's love for the money.
That paper.
Love for
It's about that paper.
green.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There's always the paper,
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
as long as it's green.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
But
Exactly.
anyways, yeah, so I did that, and then around 2006, I got invited to come to Dallas to help them with, to help Yahoo with some issues that they were having with scaling their web services for video.
Mhm. Yep.
So I don't know if you guys know, but like Mark Cuban had started this company called Broadcast.com.
With
The
sports
little
broadcasting.
broadcast?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Little broadcast
So in
icon?
the sports area, you probably
Yeah.
heard of that.
Oh, yeah.
Heard of
I
that.
think,
so,
I think I know who Mark Cuban is.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's that Shark Tank
That
guy.
sounds
isn't
familiar.
Yeah. If you're in Dallas, you probably.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, anyways, but when he sold it to them, it was a big mess. I mean, it was like
Yahoo bought it.
hyped, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it was
Yahoo bought
an
it.
incredible marketing
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
Oh, for
So
sure.
He kind of played like Yahoo and Microsoft. I think were both bidding,
Right.
and he got him to like way overbid than what it was worth.
Yep.
That's awesome.
But But yeah, so I was invited.
So when
to
you're
come
when you're
down
reading
to
those Mark
Dallas.
Cuban tweets, keep that in mind.
That's a shark. That is a shark, people.
Yeah. So I joined Yahoo, and principal architect of their multimedia streaming center, and I worked there for a couple of years. Helped them with re-architecting all their back-end infrastructure to be able to handle that traffic because this was like around 2006 timeframe, and it was around the time, if you remember, when like people were starting to get broadband internet at home, DSL and then cable and then fiber and all that. And before that, people were on dial-up, so you didn't feel it. You didn't feel it because
that was the choke was the
that
dial-up.
was limited
Everything's
there.
dropping.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So that was limiting the rate at which people could download video. But as soon as they started getting broadband, their services were getting hit.
Napster, man, you download songs quicker. I was talking about this last week.
Yeah. And so Yahoo had a lot of video services at the time. I don't know if you remember, but there was a video.yahoo.com, and they had like video for a lot of their other properties. Their personals, their music.yahoo.com. All these things. And
they had more than email back in the day.
Yeah. They did a lot of stuff.
It's kind of like MTV.
Too much.
Too soon.
Yeah, too much, too soon.
It was too soon.
And one of the things I didn't like about Yahoo is whenever they would buy up like some awesome company, they would try to like just digest that company. You know what I mean? And then that company would lose its identity.
Oh, you're talking about Amazon. You're talking about Bezos' model, right?
A lot of big companies do that.
Kinda,
They just kind of like that original company loses its identity. The founders kind of like get like, you guys have your own ideas.
So like the
they
magic is
leave,
gone
and
then.
and then you just don't hear about that company, right?
But they're continuing to do. They still have the practices.
They usually don't perform as well as when that company was by itself. For example, Yahoo bought Flickr, and they were like trying to integrate Flickr and make it photos.yahoo.com. But the Flickr founders fought that, and then they said, no, just keep us as Flickr. And they did, and that helped them maintain that identity.
Exactly.
Google had something to do with that, though, right? Because you could go Google images and do all these other things, right? And that took away from it took a lot of the people away from
it took the directory part of it. So that was before Google there were links and there was search, but it was very textual and you had the directories of links. I was already kind of old like that.
And a lot of people don't know this, but Yahoo actually bought out Alta Vista.
I remember that.
And if
I was
you
very
went to
disappointed.
altavista.com, it would lead you to Yahoo's search page.
I remember that.
And Yahoo was actually the first one to implement, that look ahead search, where as you're typing, it'll fill, look up what you're.
There was a certain small community that thought that this was a terrible infringement of privacy back then. It wasn't a huge community, but there was a
figure out what you were saying,
right?
You said,
We're like, this is
sending
terrible.
Every little character back to the servers,
right?
But Yahoo had that implemented.
In fact, I'm pretty sure some of them are still mad about that.
Early 2000s. This is early 2000s, man.
Well, this is about like 2007, 2008 kind of time frame.
Right around the time Facebook really started popping.
Yeah.
MySpace was already going ham.
Yeah, I was killing in MySpace.
Yeah.
You had
I didn't know I was
coming. You had some animated GIFs on your MySpace.
Absolutely. And I had music going.
Music? Oh man.
That
page was dope.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I was
all coders.
I was an early adopter of Facebook.
Didn't even know it.
You were what?
I was an early adopter of Facebook.
It took me a while to get there.
I was like Facebook is like downtown New York City. It's the high rises and neon lights. Now it's like the slums.
It really is.
It's the backwoods suburbs.
It is. Small pond organic reach is great.
Yeah.
Right. For sure.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember MySpace.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That
that
MySpace. That's what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
'cause that was
MySpace
before
was
Facebook. That was like
That was
Was
it.
the thing to
it
do.
was
Yeah.
like the gorilla.
That was
everything.
it.
Yeah. We were
Made
all
me learn
coders.
social
Yeah,
media.
We were all coders and didn't realize it.
I was
Yeah.
on MySpace and Black Planet.
Black Planet,
Black
bro.
Those two.
Hey,
Like,
man.
those
And
are
jamming
my
the
two.
Kanye West albums.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
man.
bad. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But so anyways, yeah, so I did the Yahoo thing for a couple years, and then from that I joined Zynga. So Zynga is the company that
Nice.
makes those games.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this was shortly after they had done the Farmville thing,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and right here in Dallas they had a studio where they were actually making Castleville. So Castleville was kind of similar to the whole Farmville kind of theme, and so worked with that studio. We actually designed. So I was part of a team that designed a way to offload the back end traffic that they encounter when you run these games. And we actually designed a system that was pretty much serverless and scalable.
Oh, wow.
But before we implemented it,
And that was before that was. I mean, that's
It's a
I'm
classic.
sorry to interrupt you,
Before
but
the
I like
AWS
now
stuff.
everybody's
Wow.
like, oh, we've got a serverless infrastructure.
yeah.
This was 2008, 2009
this
kind of
is-
time frame. So
Wow.
this was
Right,
not
right.
this was not a typical buzzword
crazy.
that everybody
Right,
Yeah,
knows
that's crazy.
at
yeah,
that time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And before we actually started implementing it, Zynga shut down the Dallas office, and it was
Zynga's got the
downsized.
like bulldog or something logo, right?
red
It's like
dog?
silhouette of a
Yeah,
dog,
yeah.
right? Yeah, okay.
Dogs there.
I was guilty of playing the
I play games,
Yeah.
man. I play some games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But it sounds like you made some pretty good career decisions so far.
Yeah.
Caught some
Yeah.
things at the high point,
Yeah.
at just the right
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Were you much
Yeah,
of
I've
a
been
gamer
lucky,
yourself?
Well, kinda. I mean,
What games did you play? I know Mario Brothers. We all went ham at that, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3.
so I haven't really ever been much of a
Video
Yeah,
games.
Official video gamer.
Yeah.
kind of person. But I've been more of a gamer in terms of like I play strategy games.
Yeah.
Like I was big into chess, growing
Nice.
up.
Nice.
And in fact, I created my own strategy game that kind of showed that humans could still outplay computers
Nice.
using just a chessboard.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
That's awesome.
And I put out like a $10,000 challenge for that, so that like first person
Nice. Challenging coders and challenging people in the space to get better and help the space. work, right?
yeah, absolutely. And I put that out as a challenge to the AI community.
Yeah. I was about to say that's like almost.
Phenomenal the way they did it. I mean,
Yeah.
they just had a program play against itself without knowing anything. Open source and
Yep.
available.
Yeah. That's
So it's
amazing.
just phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Dude.
But
So what brought
So-
you to the blockchain space? Like, how did you end up moving towards that? What was your
so that I would, if I go back to like how I came upon that, I'd have to like trace it back to like 2008 when Ron Paul was running for president.
Mhm. Mhm.
And he would talk a lot about how we need to go back to a sound money system.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you guys ever researched like how money works and all that.
How money work? How does money work?
Damn.
It works.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like a
It
Schoolhouse
doesn't
Rock
work,
something?
but-
As long as I keep coming here. and keep
What
coming.
is money? Where did money come from?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The money.
that's a really good question, and I don't think a lot of people ever care to even think about that.
Yeah.
I know I was like that. I mean, I just
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So
as long as it
right?
spins, right?
just make
Like,
money, use
yeah,
it.
we don't-
Right. Right.
Like
We don't
back in
think
the day, that before money, people were just trading what they like, food, trading jewels,
bartering.
and, yeah,
Yeah,
the barter
bartering,
system,
and
right?
then it just kind of evolved over time.
Yeah.
And it went, got more and more centralized,
Mhm.
and people depended on another authority to issue and create the money. So we
Mhm.
went from a very decentralized type of money
Right.
to a very centralized type of money, where we now have central banks that
Right.
are in charge of managing the money supply. But yeah, so Ron Paul was, talking about how we need to have a sound money system, and researched that and realized what he meant was that we need to back our dollars with gold again.
He was on some JFK stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, and so I didn't know this, but as I researched it, I found out that the dollar used to be backed with gold until 1971 when Nixon got us off.
Oddly enough, it's the same year that I was born.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, you weren't on that conversation? Yeah. We had a whole conversation a while back about how many catastrophic regulation changes happened about the same time that I was born.
Oh wow, yes.
I'm not claiming any responsibility for it, but
It had something to do with it, though.
That was just a press conference.
You're right.
Because everybody's turning in.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah. So okay. So the thing is, so we used to have a currency that was backed by gold.
Right.
And the problem with that, though, and that was good because it provided some stability, and it put some brakes on inflation and government spending and things like that. But ultimately, at the bottom of that, why does gold have any value? Why do we recognize gold as having any value?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more historical than anything else, because you can't just produce gold.
It's a natural resource,
right? So it takes time and effort for somebody to dig it up and bring it out and turn it into coins or bars or whatever.
Right.
And because of that,
and it's pretty.
Yeah, right. I mean, it has use in jewelry and some industrial use as well. But I think historically it was because of that people started associating value with gold, because you just can't make it up, right?
If you had gold, you were the man.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I don't care what time it was, what era it was.
Right.
If you had a lot of gold, you're doing good.
Yeah, and the fact that it's durable and doesn't perish, right? Because before that, people were using things like rice and salt and all these commodities as a trade, a form of trade.
You can't wear no rice around the neck, though.
Wearing rice necklace, bro.
Can't do it. Can't do it. No wheat.
What about the wheat string? You don't want to go with the.
Sew some wheat together? No, I'm not doing it, bro. It might be itchy. But that gold, though.
It makes it hard to carry it in your pocket too. Like you put 700 pounds of rice in your back pocket. That's kind of tough.
Yeah. And they said Dion said he didn't wear all that gold to be flamboyant. He did it because he couldn't get it when he was coming up, and he wanted to show the kids from the hood, hey, you can be more than a drug dealer and get this gold the right way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Playing sports, going to school, doing it the right way, and that gold. That's the bar, man. It's still the gold. That's the standard.
Yeah.
Hence the name,
gold
like
standard. It's status symbol too. I mean, it shows that look, I'm successful, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So and people, go for that kind of stuff, right?
For sure.
Anyways,
for sure.
So gold, historically, and for thousands of years now, has become like the standard of value.
Yeah.
And so whenever you create some new kind of money, you always have to tie it back to some older form of money. So there's something called the Mises regression theorem that says that
Mises.
So it's forgetting the guy's full name.
Okay.
If you Google that,
you'll
find it.
Is Mises?
Yeah, MISES, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I thought it was Mises, but
yeah, it could be. Could be.
There's so many things that I've never heard anybody pronounce.
How many of y'all like money? We're talking about money right now.
Yeah.
Mises.
Yeah.
Ludwig von Mises, 1912.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ron Paul was saying how we need to go back to this, form of, having the dollar backed by gold. And after I thought about that, it made a lot of sense. But then I started thinking, well, why does it have to be gold? Could it be oil or energy?
Another natural resource?
Land?
Yes.
Because, and as I thought about it, I came to realize that if you ever back up your money with some physical commodity, it'll help, make sure that you're not printing too much of it, but you also have that problem with that the money is not flexible in terms of, you need that money supply to grow and shrink.
Yeah.
Which is why,
So it's kind of like the scalability problem.
Yeah, you need that money to be somewhat scalable to
Or
adjust.
I think
to,
elastic is the term.
Right, elastic.
Yeah.
To adjust to what's happening in the economy.
Natural
right?
disasters
Like
and things.
Yeah,
of
if you
that
have
nature.
like more production happening, you might need more money supply, or you have a larger population, you need more money supply. So it wouldn't make it very flexible to tie it to something physical. And as I thought about that, realized that we could probably tie money to human time. And that is, in a way, a commodity. Nobody thinks of it that way, but human time is a commodity. I mean,
because
they're
definitely not making any more of it.
Right. I mean, you have, X amount of hours in a day.
Yeah.
You're not getting any more.
Yeah.
And then
you're
that
probably
if
you're
you
probably
spend
going to
it
have
on
less.
something, then you didn't spend it on something else.
Yeah.
And so those hours are lost. And
It
so
kind of ties in with that human asset value, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So how would you do it? So I came up with this really simple way, right? So all you need to do is just have a system where, like, you go and create an account at, let's say some kind of a money registrar. And once you've created your account at this money registrar, it's not a bank. It's just, another kind of institution. They don't give loans or anything like that. They just, like how domain registrars hold your domains,
Okay.
they just hold your money.
Yeah.
And once you've created an account, your account would receive, let's say, like 10 coins a day, right? And it just accumulates. So every day you're getting 10. Well, at first you think, oh yeah, now I'm getting some free money, I'm just going to splurge it and all that. Well, you're probably not, because that 10 coins a day is probably not going to have a lot of value at first, and maybe you can do something with it. Maybe it's worth like maybe $5 or something like that. And for us here in the U.S., that might not mean anything, but if you go to like some of these third world countries, man, that's
Right.
It's a lot.
Oh, you get it for
that's
the month.
somebody's monthly earnings or something, right? And so, you're always going to have somebody that values that. Now, the other thing that you notice would happen is that if I keep, like, suppose I don't do anything with my account because I don't need that. So that's going to be like 10, 20, 30, keeps on increasing. And now if you had like 1 billion people doing that, you're just going to keep having more and more money being created.
The same issue.
And you're going to have this issue that, well, you're just going to have to pay more and more of these coins for, what you're trying to buy, right?
Inflation.
Like, exactly. Like a loaf of bread, if it costed, say, like, 10 coins today, it, 5 years, 10 years down the line is going to be 50 or 100.
So you really don't have more money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the way you can, so in a way, inflation itself is not bad. It's just that it ends up making you have to deal with, keep adjusting to that rate, right? To the increasing number. People like to see things being stable, right? Like they want to know that, okay, if I'm paying, 5 coins for something today, I want to pay 5 coins for that 10 years down the line.
They like fixed prices.
They like the dollar menu at Burger King.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They like for that dollar menu to stay.
Right. Take that away.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let me get that mac chicken. Like
Because
whatever.
when it's $1.10, dog, I ain't getting it no more. You know what I'm saying? It's the same value.
And
That's true.
we're so accustomed to inflation now, because we know, like, well, burger, when I was a kid, a McDonald's sandwich would be like 10 or 25 cents.
Wowza.
Say that again.
Boy, I'd be fat in the
10 or
mud.
25 cents for a sandwich. Somewhere in that neighborhood.
But there weren't as many dollars floating around at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I remember that being a princely sum for to take the family to McDonald's.
I'm watching.
That was not a joke.
I'm watching Warrior on HBO, and he negotiated $5 a week. You know, he asked for $7.
What time frame was that?
Warrior?
Yeah, what time frame was the?
Oh
was this
man, this
negotiation?
is during like the gold rush,
Right.
like when Chinatown was first becoming.
Yeah. So
When it was first started.
What is that?
Yeah. So
Early
think about that.
30?
Yeah, 1920, 1930, something like that.
So he's thinking that was
That's
pretty
a lot of
good. He
money.
did pretty
Yeah.
good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And now minimum wage is only a little bit more than that,
Mhm.
at least for however
Right.
much longer.
Yep. And now
Yeah, yeah, and if you go back in history further, like at the beginning of the 19th century, you know, or
Mhm.
not 19th century, but the 20th century,
Yeah.
like even $1 was a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
that would be somebody's, you know, income.
Oh yeah.
Cars were
So-
worth $300.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, I wish.
So
Man.
you know, over time, that's happening in our economy.
Mhm.
We're, you know, we're printing more and more money,
Mhm.
and it's devaluing what everybody else is holding.
Exactly.
Right? So like you go to your bank and you think, oh wow, I got, you know, $1,000 and it's gonna stay $1,000, but what that
Mhm.
$1,000 buys you
Right.
Appreciate it.
5-10 years from
Yeah.
now is gonna be a lot less than what it buys you now.
Right.
So this is why
So-
sticking your money in a mason jar in your backyard is
It's
a bad
not
idea.
a good idea.
Right, exactly.
That's
That
not
inflation eats it up.
Yeah.
Or
Exactly.
a regular checking account.
Right.
Doesn't make
Savings
sense.
account. Like,
Doesn't
you're not
make
making
sense.
money.
Yeah.
There are safe investments out there that can at least get you 5%, which is going to stay ahead of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
And that's a very safe.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say, that's a very safe investment there.
Mm.
And you know, it's a challenge just to keep your money growing
Right.
at the same rate as inflation.
Inflation,
you know, so
And I think Jerome Powell came out and he talked about it, where he said they were going to let inflation kind of run
yeah.
hot.
Oh man, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Like as
More
last year, that was
recently now,
more
yeah.
recently.
Yeah, bro.
Like
I
they,
mean-
they try to keep it at around 2.5%, 3%, but now they're gonna allow it to go to like, you know, 4 or 5%.
Yeah. I mean, look at
You can't avoid
the
it.
chips. Man, I tried to buy some Ruffles the other day. Right? I mean, I bought them. You know what I'm saying?
What'd you pay for them Ruffles?
$4.49, dog.
Oh man.
$4.49 for how big of a bag?
It wasn't even the big bag. It was like the
medium
the
bag?
regular
The one that was
size
like
bag of
99
Ruffles.
cents?
The regular
like
size
the-
bag of Ruffles, not the
Look, you said 99 cents.
You know,
I'm
like
thinking.
the
I'm
1990s.
thinking 49 cents.
It wasn't the party size.
I
It wasn't the
remember.
party
I
size
remember them
bag.
things being stamped with 49 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not the
Oh,
party
yeah.
size bag.
Not the party, no, but
The regular
but not
bag
the
of
small
Ruffles,
one,
not the small
but the
one, not
one
the-
in between.
the
the
mid-
one that you buy
yeah.
off the shelf, not the
Yeah.
shelf at the register.
Right.
The shelf shelf.
But the shelf
Yeah,
shelf, yeah.
because that
$4.49.
because that
Wow.
regular the little one, the little small snack size.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
that's
used
a
to be-
quarter for
That
me.
used to be
Yeah.
like 10, 15 cents.
That was a quarter
Yeah,
for
now,
me.
that's
Yeah,
a $1.49.
That's $1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's inflation, people.
That's
Boy,
that's
I got it.
inflation.
And
That's
that's,
those
But-
buffalo
but
wings.
you go
and,
get
and
them.
that's,
That's
and
some
that-
crunchy crunchies, boy.
Oh, the buffalo
The
wing?
buffalo wing.
and
Oh, yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
it. But you just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
You're getting the same thing, or maybe even a little bit less
that's what I was going to say. You're probably getting
for a
less
lot
now.
for a lot more
Exactly.
money.
And they're
right?
redistributing. So with, also, these companies are smartened up, right? They're
Yeah.
still putting the bag on the shelf,
Yeah.
but it's a smaller bag. It's not the
Yeah,
same size
well,
bag.
the
that you're
contents.
Yeah.
The
getting. Yeah,
contents.
right?
It's
Then
like
it's
there's a
fewer
lot of air in
ounces.
this bag. Like, why can I squeeze the bag
Right?
down to the bottom
It-
of the
it-
bag?
it's
filled
fewer
by-
ounces
filled by
too,
weight.
right? But we paying more for it now. That's
Okay.
inflation.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so bring us back to blockchain. So
Yeah, yeah. I
we
mean,
got gold, we've got inflation. So
Right.
the dollar that's ostensibly tied to
Commodity
gold in
back. Right,
1971
Yeah.
now is no longer tied to gold. Not only that, but also is worth less in terms of Ruffles potato chips
Right.
than it
Right,
was
right.
to bring it down to the lowest possible level.
2000.
Right. Yeah.
What the hell is blockchain?
So how
Okay.
so help
Well-
us understand the
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna give you the full story so that you
Yeah.
get the appreciation for blockchain.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Gotcha.
because if I just told you what blockchain is,
You would.
You would-
Yeah, I've tried
no
that.
you would
context.
know
Context.
it,
Wouldn't lie
but
to you.
you know
Okay.
you won't appreciate why
Right, you gotta get
why
the
it is
concept.
what it is.
Right.
That's what's up.
So okay, so going back to the this monetary system where you
Mhm.
receive like say 10 coins per day,
Right.
to prevent this kind of runaway inflation, all you need to do is have a small currency tax, right? So the amount in your the full balance in your account would small percentage would be removed on a daily basis. And on a yearly basis, that might come out to like 2 or 3%. So you're like, okay, you know, $100 would become like $98 at the end of the year.
But
But I
that's
got
my
the whole
after-tax
year.
money. I don't want nobody taking and touching my after-tax money.
Well, but you got it for free.
Yeah,
You
you
didn't pay for
see.
it.
Yeah, okay.
So-
Okay,
You're
right, you're
but
right.
you're paying for it.
Okay, you're right.
Right?
You're
So,
right.
so
you're
you were getting that deposited anyways for
Yeah.
free.
Okay.
right. Gotcha.
And so now, okay, so you don't care if we take out a little 2%
Yeah,
anyways.
Okay.
So just those two mechanics right there. Everybody getting a small,
Okay.
now, you know, people a lot of times refer to as universal basic income.
Is that socialism?
I was, yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like this is
We'll
this
talk
is
about that in a bit.
right.
Yeah, because that is a deep question.
Yeah.
But so you get a small amount per day, and then there's a small amount that gets taken out.
right.
Now, if you do nothing with your account, your balance is going to grow, but eventually, let's say, you know, 10 was being deposited. Now my balance is, say, maybe 10,000 coins in there or something, and the small percentage that gets taken out each day equals 10,
Okay.
right? So my balance times a small percentage,
Oh yeah.
equals
Okay.
10,
So
and that's getting removed. And so now my balance isn't going to grow anymore.
so
It
let's say-
eventually hits, you know, some
plateau.
plateau.
So you get to 200, and if it's or 2,000 rather, and if 2% is the
Is
sit
10 or
sit
whatever.
tax, then you basically topped out.
Exactly.
Like you
exactly.
you don't lose anything from 2,000, but you
Yeah.
don't gain anything anymore because the percent tax
Yeah.
keeps taking it out as fast as it comes in.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
You got
Okay,
it. You got it.
interesting.
Okay, so
Okay.
now if you think about that and you say, okay, well, each person's account, if they did nothing, if everybody was doing no transactions between each other and were just letting that money accumulate in their account, each person's account would hit some, you know, equilibrium level,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Maybe let's say that's, you know, 1,000 coins
Mhm.
or something, all right? And it wouldn't grow after that. Now, you can calculate the amount of coins in the economy by just saying how many people do we have in the economy
Sure.
times 1,000.
Right.
And if more people joined our economy, well, guess what? More coins would be getting created in their accounts, and they would catch up, and eventually
Plateau.
it would still be, you know, the number of people times 1,000.
So it stabilizes at a
Exactly.
certain level.
Yeah.
And so,
Okay.
and if people left the economy, you know,
It'd go
those
up.
coins would go down.
Or, yeah.
They
It
get
will go down,
redistributed.
Yeah.
and then it would still come back and you know.
When they get redistributed.
It's in the plateau.
Like
Yeah. In
it's-
fact,
yeah.
in fact,
like I die, and
like-
mine goes to my kids.
well, like if they left the economy, their accounts would not be getting any more coins in there.
Yeah.
But you'd still have the
tax
tax depreciating
so-
that back to zero, right?
The tax that's essentially
Interesting.
like would cover
But-
like the administrative costs and the
Yeah.
you know various
But
other things.
what if I'm like, yo, my account when I pass away?
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
can
my
do
son
whatever
get
you
it,
want.
He's
my
talking about
daughter get it.
permanently leaving the account.
Yeah.
like completely leaving. Like I'm out of here. And then
Right,
like my
right.
son to get it, my daughter to get it.
Yeah, I mean, you
and
can
they go
you can
above
do
that
whatever you
threshold
want,
because they just inherited
right?
somebody's full account.
Yeah.
Or a single child inherits somebody's full account.
Right.
Or they just a little bit more wealthy than everybody else.
Exactly.
And the same 2% like continues to
2% per year.
per year. Yeah.
Right.
Continues
So
to,
on a daily basis, it's like 1% of 1%.
correct.
So it's like very small.
Yeah, it's small.
But yeah, that would, you know, you can do whatever you want with the money. You can, you know, pass it on to others and so forth. So, so that it has a really nice property because now with that, what happens is you don't feel like prices are going up.
So
Like a haircut now
Right.
is going to be the same price
So-
10 years from now,
Yeah.
50 years from now. A loaf of bread is going to be the same. Now, what will go up are things like land.
Yeah.
So if
Fixed
there's more
resources,
people,
right.
fixed resources. So if there's more people that, you know, are there, then
or
price
of
land will go up.
exclusive products.
Right.
And this is all
exactly.
hypothetical.
Yeah.
Yo, this
Louis
is all
Vuitton will
hypothetical
still have.
speaking right here. If
Right.
this
We have it.
type
we have,
of currency existed, this is how we could eliminate tax or eliminate
Or a
inflation,
system.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, this
yeah.
would
Right.
be like
Yeah.
a pretty ideal kind of currency because, all right, so now if you think about what makes this really a good type of a currency is that you now no longer need anybody to administer the currency.
Yeah.
Right.
You just have these two simple rules, right?
Yeah.
You have
Where your social
receiving.
security
The only
number
papers matter
is.
would be a birth certificate and a death certificate.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what's referred to as a rule-based monetary system,
Mm.
right? Okay, so that would kind of put the Fed out of business because now you don't need all these economists sitting there like, trying to figure out, do we need to increase the interest rate?
Oh,
Do
so
we
they're
need
never
to,
going to make that.
tweak these knobs?
No
and all
wonder it
that.
doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it now.
Yeah,
Some of my
exactly.
favorite people are economists.
Exactly.
Some of my least favorite people are also economists.
Mhm.
Some of them are
So-
the same people.
So I,
Yeah.
So I thought this was
No,
such
yeah.
an amazing idea. I wrote a paper about it in like 2011. So like since 2008 to about 2011.
And you got banned
researching
from every
money.
social media platform there was.
Yeah, right. I wish.
I don't know if that's happening. That's
But
what's happening at
So-
that rate.
so I wrote a paper, and while I was researching the some information for background on this paper, I knew there used to be this digital currency back in the early 1990s called DigiCash,
Mhm.
which
Yep,
was based on cryptography.
Mhm.
It was supposed to, do away with people being able to like create counterfeit money
Right.
and
Fake,
be able
real
to,
cat, yeah.
and it would have all these
DigiCash.
nice properties of being able to transfer over
Mhm.
the internet and so forth.
Right.
And while I was searching the internet for DigiCash, this is like May 2011.
Yep.
Guess what I run into?
Boom.
Yeah,
Bingo.
exactly.
Mm.
Exactly.
Tripped right over some Bitcoin.
Did you run into it or did you scoop up a whole lot of them? Two different
Oh
things.
man. Well,
Yeah.
so when you first come across something like Bitcoin,
Yep.
a lot of people just like
Skeptic.
very, very skeptical,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Because I've heard so many stories of people who are now like so gung ho about Bitcoin, but they're
Mhm.
like, man, I passed it up like 5 or 6 times
Mhm.
before I finally
Finally.
said this is something to look into.
Exactly.
I'm one of
my
those.
story.
I'm one of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
lost hard drive guys.
That's crazy.
I mean, it was
It
like
sucks.
a Bitcoin, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be worth a lot of
We're
money.
talking about
Right.
today.
But
this
it was-
month, we're
but-
looking at 40.
But there was
$40,000.
nobody recognized any, that this was going to be a huge deal.
Did y'all ever hear about the most expensive pizza?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Right?
I knew that guy.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
incredible.
I
It's
email list.
10,000 or
He
50,000
spent $10,000 on
Yeah.
that pizza. $10,000.
Yeah, when they're worth nothing.
Yeah, I think
buy
it was.
the whole franchise for that.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2 Bitcoins.
I think it was a Papa John's
Huh?
pizza.
I think it was like 2
Incredible.
Bitcoins.
10,000.
Was it?
Yep. It was
It
10,000.
It was 10,000 Bitcoins? Oh my God.
He got ripped off even then.
I mean,
400 million today.
I
400.
tell you what, boy. I wish I was at Pizza Guy that day.
Yeah.
Jeez, I never.
I don't know.
pizza.
That story has grown and changed. I don't know. I've been involved with the crypto community for a long time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
But so I stumbled on Bitcoin and having this computer background and all that. So I was like, oh, this actually sounds pretty interesting. I was actually kind of looking for something where because I was like for the money registrars, I wanted to like have some sort of a system that would make it so that the money registrars couldn't be corrupt.
Right.
And then I was seeing like how Bitcoin has all these different nodes where they don't trust each other,
Right.
but yet they all
Right.
operate in a
Validators.
trustless way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I was fascinated by that. So I read the Bitcoin white paper and was just like, oh, yeah, what is this? This is just like.
Man, you didn't make it up, huh?
no,
It's like, dang, I should have
I
came up with
didn't.
Are you Satoshi Nakamoto?
it.
Are you now, or have you ever been
but I
Satoshi
am
Nakamoto?
related to it.
Straight out, what is the deep fake?
As we all are.
Right. That's Satoshi too.
Should we be blurring his
It's my
face?
cousin.
But,
So you've discovered Bitcoin.
yeah, and I read the white paper,
Mhm.
and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I got to try this out, So I go to my son and said, hey, he has this gaming computer. And I'm like, hey,
let me borrow your GPU.
Bitcoin. Yeah, let me put this to work on your computer. So we download the Bitcoin software. We tried mining Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And we realized that, man, you're not going to mine any Bitcoin at this rate.
Right.
So then we found out that you can use a GPU, and GPUs were just starting to become usable for mining Bitcoin. So we went to Fry's, bought a GPU card for $350, and already they were starting to go out of stock.
I was gonna say, like, they were available.
This is 2011.
Like, they were available.
I was gonna say, it's 2011. Yeah.
2011.
I wish you
and
were my
there was
dad.
already like people just buying up all these GPU
And
cards.
my son's over there somewhere saying, "I wish he was my dad too."
Right.
Now, my son's doing. He's not mining for Bitcoin. He's doing transaction validations.
Okay.
So he's making
I was
like
running a node.
he's like making
Basically.
$1 or $2 here and there.
Yeah.
But he's
That's
making.
good.
I mean, he's
That's
for a
nice.
16-year-old. He's making
Man,
decent
I love
cash.
it. I love where his head's at. Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No,
love where his
that's
head's at.
He's not
really good to
chasing
get
the coins.
involved
He's
with
chasing
that
the
stuff.
transaction.
Right.
Yeah. Really good
Yeah.
to get involved with that. I mean, if
POS,
you're
man.
technically
Yeah.
savvy,
Yeah.
definitely run some validators.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we start running this, and that that GPU card sounds like a jet airplane.
Right.
Really loud, and this is like probably June, and weather here in Texas already starts heating up in June.
Yeah.
My son's room is
Humming.
You can't walk in there anymore because it's so
Yeah.
hot. And my wife's like, "What are you guys doing in there?" Like, so we did this. We mined it for a week, and at the end of the week, we generated like 0.8 Bitcoin.
Right.
Oh man.
Finally.
And then
Wow.
right. And so
Which is not bad,
Awesome.
actually.
We generated
Nice.
0.8 Bitcoin. Let's see, that works out to about $3. And I'm like, we just spent $350 on
Right.
this GPU card, so it'll take us about 100 weeks, like 2 years. But I was reading on the forums that mining is getting harder and harder, so I can't even count on that, 0.8 Bitcoin a week rate.
Yeah.
It was going to get even less than that. I'm like, this doesn't.
So did you shut it down?
Yeah, we should.
Oh man.
This doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right? So I can't
Man.
buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, by today's prices,
No doubt.
yeah,
But you didn't
absolutely.
see
Yeah.
2021 price.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
No,
But
10 years
at
ago.
that time,
Right.
It was
Bitcoin
ahead,
price
bro.
was like $4.
$4, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, gotta return
$4
this back to Fry's.
Package it up. Put some masking tape on it.
Yeah.
But let's use that $350 to buy some Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because
That's good.
when you do that, you have an appreciation
Mm-hmm.
for why Bitcoin has a
there's
value.
value.
Because a lot of people that just come to Bitcoin, they're like, why does this have any value, man? This was created out of thin air.
The energy it
No,
takes.
it wasn't created out of thin
Yeah.
air. If you actually tried to create it, you would realize that it wasn't created out of thin air.
Exactly.
Somewhere, somebody spent a lot of energy
Exactly.
and depreciation of hardware to create those Bitcoin.
Right.
And so they have an appreciation, and they're not going to give you those for free.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So
Right.
so we were looking to how to buy Bitcoin, and it's like, man, you just can't buy Bitcoin because
Yeah,
there's
it's
just
not
no
on
way
the
around,
marketplace.
right?
2011.
So 2011, there was just one exchange. It was called Mt. Gox
Yeah.
in Japan,
MT.
and
Yep.
I was like, man, I don't even trust this.
Yeah.
It was
That was a
all
good- that was a
it was
good
all a
show.
They
little
got
sketchy.
Bitcoin, stocks, and suckers like right by each other on the same website.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
sent like I sent like $200 there. Figured like if this works, then maybe I'll buy more. So I sent like $200 because going to
Yeah.
Japan. By the time it got there and got credited to my account, it was like a month and a half.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So I was like, because they were probably getting so many people.
Oh yeah.
They were like so backed up. And during that month and a half, the Bitcoin price went from $4 to like $25.
Right.
Wow. So what you sent over, you
And
can
I was
only
like-
get 8 of them at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm
What?
like, oh man, do I
50?
even buy it or
Right.
whatever?
There's so many
already-
side conversations because you're already hitting on we already talked about inflation. You're already hitting on arbitration.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many side
And
conversations to
already,
this.
you know, I was contemplating buying Bitcoin at $4 because
Right.
a lot of people, you know, when I told them it was $4, like, man, why didn't you buy a ton of it? And I was like, because it was too risky. Because
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
6 months
Yeah,
ago it
right.
was 25 cents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was 25 cents,
Brand
and
new.
6 months later, it's $4.
That's way too
And
much for
you-
Bitcoin.
and buy it?
back
You know,
then. It's
and
like,
we
this is
look-
an idea out of nowhere.
Right,
You kidding
and,
me right
and
now?
we look back at that curve now. So we're looking back at a 10-year curve now
Yeah.
to 2011,
Yeah.
and we see that curve going. And we look at it, and we think, oh yeah, it's
Like it's
steadily going up, no problem. But it wasn't like it was going. It
Right.
would go up and it would go down,
Exactly.
and I mean like huge volatility,
Yeah.
and it still has a lot of
Off of an
volatility.
idea, off a
Right.
thought.
To this day.
Digital currency.
Right, to this
what?
day,
We're in
right,
the
right,
middle.
What are you talking about? Bitcoin off.
So-
It's
40%
dumb.
correction.
Yeah, so I mean the
I
concept,
wish I was dumb.
the idea that you would be resistant to buying Bitcoin
At
or any other
$4,
cryptocurrency
And
because of the volatility and the risk
Yeah.
is
And at
not
that
weird. Like it is very
well, I
easy
think
to
it's a lot
understand.
less
It's still-
riskier now because I
it
remember
is.
back
Right.
in those days, people were talking about it on the forums and saying like, "Is the government just going to ban this? Because the only
Yeah.
people buying it are people that want to use it on Silk
Right.
Road."
Right.
Yeah. Knowledge. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
But
Like
no,
it's
no.
completely flipped.
Well, yeah, for I'd say institutions, people who they have some financial understanding
Mm-hmm.
in regards to investing and all that.
Questioning the market. I
Yes.
guess I should say.
I would
instead
say
of
for the masses, no. Like there's still a ton of
non-believers.
fear. Absolutely, because it was like, I don't know, like.
Well, to bring it back around, so
Mhm.
we started off the conversation talking about that we don't think about the dollar.
Mhm.
Like we just assume
Absolutely,
that
yeah.
we're going to be
This
able
is
to
what it
continue
is.
to go to Burger King and get a dollar burger off the dollar menu because it's always going to be $1 and it's always going to cost $1.
Yeah.
And we've already wrapped that back to gold, which it's not backed by gold anymore. And the value of gold was always somewhat arbitrary based on whoever had the most of it kind of set the prices of whatever else. So, when we say this Bitcoin or XRP or Ethereum, or I'm trying to just randomly name some, so
Litecoin,
but it's all
VeChain.
either stuff Mark owns or I own.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
not saying buy any of those,
No.
but do so.
Mhm.
But those the idea that currency is just something that is a concept out there is not new. It's always been a concept. There's
Right.
never been something really backing it up other than like real estate or
Right.
something that has
Absolutely.
intrinsic value
And
and that is not easily tradable.
And since 1971, when we went off the gold standard to now, it's been about 50 years. We've just been doing an
It is about
experiment.
50 years. Thank you for reminding me.
50-year
I know.
experiment.
It's a
crazy.
50-year experiment.
In the 1900s.
And the biggest thing that I think we learned from that
The late
experiment
1900s.
is that money is really a belief system.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, look at
1000%.
that.
Right.
Right? If
Trust.
it has a network effect
Yeah.
of a lot of people believing it and using it,
And it
Mhm.
is.
it doesn't even matter if it's backed by
Right.
anything or not.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So if you could
It's so true.
define blockchain, how would you define what blockchain truly is?
Well,
So-
so
in layman's terms.
Okay, so let's connect that back to Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
So what was going on with Bitcoin that was making the price go from like 25 cents to $4 to $25 and
To $48,000.
Yeah.
51.
50,
Yeah,
60,
55, 56,000. Yeah.
We're expected to hit 100,000.
By the end of the
You
year.
know, yeah. So
Well, I
What-
got
what-
somebody
why-
who's
why
predicting
is
that,
it
and I don't believe him.
going,
So.
why is it going
He's always
crazy
wrong.
like this? So it all ties back to how can you have something that is of value being transferred over the internet?
Mhm.
So that is what blockchain allows, right? So, okay, so the web and internet, its biggest contribution was allowing us to transfer information across a distance very cheaply, right? I mean, that brought email, video, and everything that we have now
with an identifier.
But if I wanted to send $1 to somebody over the internet, that's just not possible.
Right.
So you always have to go through a third party.
Right. So just to quickly wrap it back to like 2011, 2001 kind of time frames. If you wanted to do that, you had to have a credit card, third party. You had to have a debit card, maybe, which is third party. So you're giving your money to somebody else
They have the network.
Right.
They own. This third party owns some network.
Right.
Where they do the transfer across on that network, and then they drop that money into the account of whoever you're trying to pay.
So individual to bank to merchant.
Yeah.
So, right. It's the typical transaction.
Maybe several banks in between there.
Yeah.
Right. So you have consumer, third party, producer.
Yeah.
Right. So you have that exchange.
And then merchant back to bank to individual in validating the transaction.
Yep.
Right.
So when people realize that, oh my God, and more people started to see that, oh man, with Bitcoin, I can transfer money across the internet and there's no third party in between.
So individual to merchant directly.
Yeah.
It's like
this.
Yeah.
One-to-one, right?
So I think that not to derail completely, but there's so many layers involved in this that we can barely touch on. But one of the things that we forget or completely just don't even know is how much loss there is in that third party. So obviously there's loss with that, like they're taking a percentage. Okay, easy to understand.
Yeah.
What we don't realize is
percentage
because
means more money.
Yeah, right. So they're getting a percentage, and they're getting a fairly significant percentage based on volume of transactions.
Yeah.
But I worked in payment systems once upon a time, among many other things. So what we don't know is what they don't advertise is how much loss they have because those transactions are not validated. Yeah. There is nobody there is no way on either end of that to say definitively JA is paying Mark this amount of money. Mark has received this amount of money. This amount of money has been debited or whatever from
identifiers.
JA. There's no definitive way to stop the double pay.
Yeah,
double spend.
Right. Yeah. And what one of the key things that a Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies do is eliminate the possibility of that double spend.
Yeah.
Plus the percentage that the processor gets.
The additional cost that comes with it.
Right.
And for a business that is running on low margins,
right,
that 1 or 2 or 3% could actually be like 10% of their profit.
Right.
Right. So it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. So
so
I mean,
so from a merchant standpoint, you're actually getting the money.
Yeah, they should
that you're charging instead of someone taking a chunk of that, a haircut off the top of that.
And there's no chargebacks.
Yeah. Gotcha.
There's no chargebacks.
It's kind of like cash because once you hand it over, the only way you're going to get that money back is if you please
send it back. Yeah.
Once you hand that money over to Mark, he's running and he can outrun all of us.
Thank you.
Hey, you can't call the bank and be like, "Hey man, these cats here defrauded me, man. I don't know what's going on. I didn't get what I paid for."
Right. And so from the merchant's point of view, you can look at your balance book and figure that out. That's a plus. From the average consumer, from probably more than just average consumer, most people are not thinking about those fees and the economic drain of chargebacks and the economic drain of fraudulent transactions that most of the time the credit card companies you get somebody steals your card, racks up $100 at Walmart. The assumption is, well, I'm going to tell the bank about it, and they're going to go track that guy down and beat him up and get that $100 back. Yeah. No, that is not what happens. What happens is the bank calls the clearinghouse, and they say, "Yeah, okay, Here's your $100.
And
Done.
that's if you're lucky, man.
And that's if
'cause
you're lucky. Yeah, that's
otherwise,
if you're lucky.
The bank says, "Oh, we're just going to give you a new credit card,"
Right.
and like turn your life upside down.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now
So-
everywhere that you got your credit card registered for
Now you gotta go
automatic
and read,
withdrawals.
yeah.
I've been dealing with
we're
it
just gonna
for
put a
over a
freeze
year.
on the current
So
one.
this is
Right.
this is ultimately going to make individuals do a lot more research on the merchants that they're dealing with.
And
Right.
there's just a tremendous amount of drain on the economy. Like,
Mhm.
and when I say drain on the economy, if you're not an economist, what you should think is that dollar Burger King burger that I want
Could have been less.
could have been less,
Yeah.
or that $1.25 Burger King burger that used to be $1. Well, some part 5 cents of that 25 cents extra
Just went to
was
third
just
party.
wasted because somebody said there's no way I can track down everybody who's doing a fraudulent $100 transaction.
So you're not necessarily getting wholesale prices, but you're getting prices that aren't marked up.
You're getting
the error priced in.
all right. So
Yeah,
there's
loss priced
loss.
in.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
loss that's being priced into these transactions because the current, the prevalent way of doing things with dollars and credit cards and debit
There's a
cards
certain margin of error.
has no way to correct that error other than building it into the price structure.
Right.
Yeah.
And so how does that work? That works by you just keep
Increase.
adding. It just keeps adding and adding.
But what if I order something from Wish.com with a Bitcoin and I come back and my shirt sleeves come up to here? Right? Am I just screwed?
Has that happened?
No, I know Wish is known for the medium shirts and stuff, But am I just screwed at that point?
That's why
Or-
VeChain is a good platform.
Okay.
to
So
look
yeah,
into.
that's a good
VeChain.
question. Okay, so
Yeah.
so there's a element of transactional
refund?
verification and trust involved.
Mhm.
So if you have a problem, what's the recourse?
Not on Bitcoin Network.
Yeah.
If the merchant
Yeah,
doesn't
it depends
deliver,
on the merchant.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
You're screwed.
your only option is to go give them a bad rating,
Right.
That's it.
right?
So you contact their customer service.
Yeah, you
and-
try to resolve it,
Right.
but if you can't,
Yeah.
that's
So that goes back to what you're saying. Is
The
there's
research is the
Yeah, you
the
need to-
buyer is going to have to do their research on the merchant and make sure that it's a
Yeah.
valid.
absolutely,
The
absolutely.
beauty
Yeah.
is
And the
that
product
is
is
out
good.
there.
And
In
that's-
addition to, there's a blockchain and solution called Revane, is a review like
Mhm.
solution, and so you're
Right, and
actually
that's why
literally collecting.
reputation systems are going to be very
They're going
important.
to be huge.
in
Like
this
you're
kind
getting
of a
paid for
economy.
What
getting
type of system was that?
Reputation system.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to be very important
big.
5
to
stars,
make
4 stars.
this
Yeah.
kind of a system work.
Yeah. Gotcha.
so
Yelp
So
and
going
Google
back
review.
to like blockchain and how does this tie in? So being able to send something without having an intermediary across the internet
Yeah.
is actually not possible. Even with Bitcoin and all these cryptos,
Still.
you are using a third-party intermediary, except that third party is a network of computers that don't know who you are. They don't care what you're trying to do with the money. They're just following the rules that have been programmed into these computers,
Yeah.
which is to just create these blocks, link the
Yep.
blocks together,
Yep.
put all the transactions in the block, and keep on chugging
Yeah.
and earn some Bitcoin for
Right.
doing that. And that's all they care about. They don't care, that you were wanting to spend this on Silk Road or
No.
that you're trying to transfer, what's worth like $1 million worth of Bitcoin. They don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
So
There's nobody, and because this is a network of like 10,000 different computers at one point,
Worldwide.
Bitcoin
Yeah.
was very decentralized. There was about 10,000 computers, each one spread across the world.
Well,
You're not going to subpoena them to say like shut down that account.
Yeah. So we're eliminating Western Union from taking
Yeah.
so much money on these massive transactions,
Well,
right?
no.
way more than that, right? So we're
And like other, I
So-
don't mean to just throw Western Union on the bus,
yeah. So
but these other third-party entities, like
yeah, so not only cutting out the transaction fees, but you're also eliminating all the bad things that can go that can go wrong when you
There.
have a third party
Yeah,
involved,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
A third
Lost
party,
transactions.
like you ever try to deposit like $10,000 in your bank?
And all your data being
Right.
transferred.
Yeah,
to all these
it takes
Yeah.
a week and a half to get
Yeah,
10,000.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
well, and
easily.
then they do, file
I know
suspicious
that, yeah.
report.
Right.
Yeah.
If you ever try to withdraw,
Yeah.
like, more than I don't know.
Yeah, more than
like
$9,999.
Yeah, friend,
Yeah.
If it's over that,
cousin of mine who's a doctor, he wanted to like go to a car auction and he needed like, $20,000 in cash so that
Oh
he
yeah,
could
no,
pay this.
that's
He goes to his
we gotta
bank.
talk
He's
about
got like probably millions in the bank.
Right.
And he's like, I need to draw, like
20.
$20,000. And they're like, I'm sorry, sir, we can't do that until 5 or 10 days later.
Until we actually get it here.
Right.
What?
Because we spent
This
that
is
in
not,
other.
my account has the money. It's like my account
crazy.
has the money. I just
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah.
Like, nope.
We're
Can't
not
get it.
liquid.
And we're gonna
They're
keep
not
giving you
liquid.
BS.
So we can. We could talk all day about all this
Yeah.
Oh,
bad
for sure.
stuff about when you're dealing with third
The
parties
fractured
and all that, right?
system.
So,
Yeah.
so this is why Bitcoin was like so phenomenal because of blockchain, right? So blockchain is where you just have a lot of different anonymous nodes working together, creating these blocks, and each block has a set of transactions in it that says, okay, these transactions are now validated and they're finalized, right?
Right.
And then now you connect the next block linking back to that block and so forth. And once your block gets like pretty old,
Yep.
you're not going to change that block. Nobody's going to go back
No,
and
submit it.
change history, right?
Yeah.
Like you're just not going to
So it's-
undo that transaction, man.
It's
And
sort
all
of it's
your-
sort of like your transactions go into a lockbox,
Exactly.
and then the lockbox becomes part of the key for the next lockbox.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
so to roll that back is
it just-
virtually impossible.
And all your data is secure
Yeah.
and not being passed around like
Unless
Well,
you own
Well-
51% of the network.
unless you own 51% of the network.
And
Well,
you get,
Like
I
China
mean-
does.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
even with that, it's very, very hard.
Yeah.
There's certain things you can do, but you can't completely undo the past history. Even with that,
Right.
You could maybe act like you're paying somebody, but then take that money back
Gotcha.
and then fool them.
With
So like if I was buying a
recent transactions.
right, if I was buying a house from you,
Yeah.
and I acted like I just paid you the value of that house in Bitcoin, and you're like, okay, good to go. Here's the keys.
Mm-hmm.
And then I, could, if I had more than 51%
Yeah.
power, I could undo that transaction
Yep.
and then,
Like that.
take that back. But historical transactions, even with 51%
Yeah.
power, I'm
Yeah.
not going to be able to undo those.
In 2017 or 18, Brian Delamont and I did a proof that you could launch enough validators on AWS to roll back 2 transactions.
Two of them.
But it would cost more than any transaction
Oh,
was ever going to be
wow.
worth.
Yeah, it would make it not feasible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Unless-
blockchain provides that capability. So that's what blockchain is. It's just a bunch of nodes that are distributed across the world, each maintaining a copy of the database of all the history of all the transactions that happen. And so you can say, well, I'll run my own computer and I'll put 1 million Bitcoins in my account. And then I'll try to spend from that account, right? And give Mark, 1,000 Bitcoins.
So kind of like I've got a laser printer, so
Yeah.
I'll just print some.
Well,
some
so
Benjamins.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
I can change my database, but who's going to change the database in all those other computers around the world?
Right.
And I can submit a transaction to the network that says, hey, move 1,000 Bitcoin from my account to Mark's account because I just artificially put 100,000 Bitcoin in my account. The rest of those computers are going to be like, it doesn't register, man. There's no Bitcoin in this account.
Bro, you got no.
And they're just going to throw away that transaction.
I think this is one of the hardest things for people to wrap their heads around. that the transaction is transparent,
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's right.
but the people doing the transaction are obscure. Like
Yeah, so all the accounts
Mhm.
are out there.
Yeah.
You can check an account to see how much
Yeah.
balance it has and so forth.
You don't know who.
Well, yeah, I mean, so you technically don't, because as long as the person is careful to
Right.
not reuse that same address, or go posting like, hey, here's my address, on your Twitter or something like that, or donate some bitcoins to me or whatever.
or use Coinbase.
But yeah, and so as long as you don't reveal yourself, nobody knows who owns what account.
Right.
So that's what makes it somewhat anonymous, but a lot of times people are not careful with that, and there's companies out there that are doing research to link accounts with who might be owning them and so forth.
Is anybody
CIA
surprised by
included.
that at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Is there any surprise that people are backtracking?
So tell me this: what is, and this is something that I wonder. What's the difference between, let's say, I know utility is the word, right? But what does that mean when we're talking about XRP versus Bitcoin?
Okay, so initially there was only Bitcoin, right? And then there was, people started saying, well, Bitcoin runs too slow. It takes 10 minutes for the next block to come out. We could improve on this, right? We could increase the speed and so forth. It's spending a lot of energy. Maybe we could do it without spending all that energy. So there's been a lot of innovation where people have tried to come up with other solutions, and a lot of them are actually good. They're better than Bitcoin. Okay, but
There are cryptocurrencies better than Bitcoin.
yeah,
Better than
technically,
Bitcoin.
right?
Technically.
Technically, they're
When it
better
comes
than
to
Bitcoin.
actually using them to enhance a process that exists.
They're better than Bitcoin. I mean, you could do it if
Yeah.
everybody said, "Let's switch to Litecoin."
It's better.
Yeah, I mean,
Cost less, use less
yeah.
energy,
Well,
faster.
yeah, it has
Yep.
different hashing algorithm and so
Yep.
forth. But so we could do that. I mean, everybody could do it. But at the end of the day, like we said before, money is a belief system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody believes that Bitcoin is king, then Bitcoin is king.
Yeah.
You gotta bend the knee,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So that's really why Bitcoin is what it is
Okay.
right now, because there are better systems out there.
Oh yeah.
And Ripple was actually started by Jed McCaleb.
Yep.
He's the guy that actually created Mt. Gox and then sold it to somebody. And so he wanted to create a system that was not spending so much energy. And so that, he partnered up with some people, and they came up with Ripple. And I actually even helped him beta test the original, some of the original versions.
nice.
You
of
help
Ripple.
who beta test? You help Jed?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you know Arthur Britta and David Schwartz?
Well, I've met them at
Yeah.
conferences and stuff, but I mean, I don't know them that well.
No, but you helped Jed McCaleb test
That's wild.
some of the
Yeah, I've
first.
exchanged emails with Jed, and he was actually posted
I
it.
gotta step out for a second.
That's amazing.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
All right.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
That's crazy.
So yeah.
So you may not know this, but Mark is all up in some XRP.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, XRP is good. I mean, it could, potentially be a better Bitcoin than Bitcoin. But it's, at the end of the day, again, what do the people want?
Right.
Nowadays it's
we
getting
are
to
in
be
like you said, centralized government. Centralized money is centralized.
right. So when you bet on XRP, you're kind of like betting on like maybe the central banks using XRP to deploy their central bank digital currency.
Right.
Bingo.
So yeah.
So that brings
Right,
up
right.
that brings up another aspect of this, which is, when we talk about cryptocurrency. So first of all, it's not only Bitcoin, But underlying cryptocurrency is a technology which is blockchain and distributed ledger, which is not necessarily a currency. Like there are other applications besides strictly speaking a currency.
Right.
And so that's why, one of the things that Ethereum is good for, and XRP, to be fair, is that there are other things, that you can do. You can do logical contracts. There's other things that you can do with it besides just using it as a currency.
Right.
Which enhances the value as a currency as well, but
yeah, I mean, even since the very early days of Bitcoin, people kind of realized that, we could use this for other things.
Right.
There was something called BitMessage in the very early days where somebody created a network to be able to send messages. There was Namecoin, which was kind of like a DNS type system where you could register like a domain name kind of a thing on a decentralized naming system.
Right.
So there was a lot of people started realizing there's a lot of other things that you could do with this, and you were starting to get people building very unique, one of a kind blockchain based networks.
Right.
And I think that was around the time when the Ethereum guy Vitalik Buterin. He actually was working for a company that was doing something like this, and he said, "Well, why are we, gonna like make a special opcodes to handle all these different applications? Why don't we just like make a more general, Turing complete system where the nodes run a program, and now you can have a language that programs that." So now the word for it is smart contract. Program that smart contract so that it could do whatever you want it to do, rather than everybody trying to create their own network and make it specialized and customized to all these different applications. And that was actually a huge idea at the time. And I remember I was at the Texas Bitcoin conference in 2014. And Vitalik was there, and this was even before they actually, rolled out Ethereum. But Vitalik was on this roadshow, just going to conferences, talking about what they were going to build. And he had his team of people there, Gavin Woods and other guys, and there I was sitting in the front row seat with my buddy and listening to Vitalik. And if you guys have ever listened to Vitalik, sounds like an alien. I mean, dude is. I think he's an alien. I think he's an alien.
What he can't do is rap. Bro, they did an intro
so he might be
a conference that he might be, and it was like a rap. Like it's so. I will send it. I'm gonna send it to you. It's atrocious.
But Vitalik, I mean, just the kid is probably the age of my son, but
he's a brain.
Super genius.
Crazy.
But he talks like in a very monotonic voice, and and very, very technical.
Super technical.
And it's like very hard to follow him if you're not, really keeping up. And there I was.
It's tough to talk to anybody like that, man.
Right. So, but so I was there, and I remember I asked Vitalik two things. Said, why are you making this currency like not? So they were going to have like a no limit on the supply of Ethereum.
Oh
man.
And so I asked him, why are you doing that? Why don't you make it have, some kind of limit? Right. And so, his answer to that was, well, the total supply versus the amount, the constant amount that's going to be released would kind of, cap the supply in a way and make it, what's the word I'm looking for?
Scarce.
Kind of scarce, but deflationary. That's the word I'm looking for. Deflationary, meaning like it doesn't continue to always inflating, but yeah, so that, and then the other thing I asked him after the talk was, have you thought about using a non-proof of work kind of a system?
That's a great question.
And he
That is a
said,
great question.
yeah, we might do that as a version 2.
Sure enough.
Yeah,
Charles,
this is 2014.
Charles came in and was like, you know what?
Right.
Definitely need to be proof of stake.
Right. So, but
And he
you know,
did
it was
that,
on the
yeah, he did.
radar since 2014.
Ethereum
They
came
built
with
the
versions.
first version.
Man.
But so,
I don't think they got it though.
so yeah, so
trying
blockchain
to
can be
figure it out.
used for a lot of different things. And
I see a lot of supply chain use cases for either securing supply chain, validating the state of a supply chain, or I think we will see after the SolarWinds mess dust settles. I think we will see a software supply chain that is enforced by blockchain.
Yep.
Because
yeah, and there's
there's really no reason why we couldn't do that already.
Yeah.
And I think we've just seen the proof that it needs to be that we need a better
Mm-hmm.
some better control over the software supply chain.
Right. Yeah, and there's a lot of projects out there working on these kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And,
for sure.
man, if you start researching in the crypto space, it'll make your mind spin.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the number of different projects that are coming up. Man,
Sure.
this reminds me of like 1997, 98, when
Yeah,
all
does
these
it really?
websites were popping up.
Yeah. Hey, man.
How much money was there to
And,
be
and
made?
some of the things are just completely
Internet?
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
oh man, yeah. But you know, like now,
If you got in, you did well.
if you
you
go
got
back
in,
to
you
that,
did
it was
well.
very
Yeah.
confusing, right? Like,
It was
oh, is
confusing.
Amazon gonna be big?
I
or
mean,
is
I
this
put
just
I
a
put all my
crazy-
money on Pets.com.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I know, I'm just
But
kidding.
that would make
Right?
sense.
So-
though.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Yeah, it's very
Right, yeah.
confusing
That's
to
a
know.
niche.
Jonas, you're doing better than I thought.
No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
No, because there was the one that was that sounded like such a great idea at the time, and it just completely tanked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of them probably did.
Oh yeah, a lot of them.
And so we have like just a huge number of
Projects,
projects
yeah.
popping up
Yeah.
using blockchain.
Right,
yeah.
You know, trying to build something new and creative with it.
Right.
And just like all these websites that were popping up
Yeah.
back in.
Whoever
back in
thought
our
Dodge
days.
anything would be of value?
Well, that's similar
Just
to
kidding.
Cuban's marketing
Yeah,
strategy.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Although I will say, Doge
Sell them up.
Flare
Sell
Network.
'em
Flare
up.
Network added Doge to it, so it actually has a smart contract piece to it, which is probably the most valuable part of Dogecoin.
Oh, so is it Doge?
Period.
Maybe the
Doge,
only
doggy.
valuable.
See, I've been too Texan, man. It's Dodge. But I have to eat.
You know, that's a
That
car.
works.
Yeah, yeah. They call it Dodge down here. No, that's awesome,
And
man.
some
It
people
is a-
call it doggy.
Doggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, doggy coin.
Oh,
That's
wow.
doggy coin. Doggy
Wow.
coin.
Anyways.
Doge.
But
sounds much
that
better.
gets back to your point. Like that was, you know, he up front says like I created this as a spoof,
That's a spoof.
and
1000%.
and
Here we
but
are.
people
If
are
enough
buying
people
into it, right?
are
So
gonna back it. It's
Yep.
and it's like what Elon Musk says. You know, it's like,
Dogecoin.
it'd be funny if that became the currency that we all
It'd be
use,
funny.
right?
Right.
Yeah, my boy Gain, he made like $700 off Dogecoin.
Which
the other day.
which makes you
2
wonder.
weeks ago. It's like, what in the world?
Like, well, it may not make you wonder, but it makes somebody weird like me wonder if, like 10,000 years ago, there was some guy who found gold and said, "This metal is freaking useless.
Yeah.
It's too soft to do anything with.
But it's really pretty.
I'm going to tell everybody it's worth something and see what happens."
Yeah.
And then like
Can't
everybody's
go
like,
with it.
gold is the thing.
That's
to have."
amazing.
Yeah, man.
Well, it's I mean, because you got to go back to the Romans too.
Yeah.
So it already
Oh, yeah.
had
Even
its.
before that.
Value.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, even before, yeah.
Yeah, that's
it
why.
already had
That's why I
its
said 10,000.
historical cachet.
Like,
Oh, by the way, the United States is the baby boy on the planet. I don't know if y'all realize that.
Right.
Just saying. We're only a few years old compared to
Yeah.
everywhere else. But no, man.
So going back and connecting blockchain with the utilities that
Yeah.
you can do with it. So I told you about the UBI
Yep.
demortgage currency that I
Right,
was
yeah,
thinking about.
Universal basic income.
So I
credit,
I was okay. So stepping back,
Mhm.
imagine if we were to do this, right? So if we had some money registrar, and you go create an account with them, you know your account gets some money, and then there's some.
Let's
amount
call it
that's taken
USD BI for basic
What
income.
up? Yeah.
Yeah.
USD BI coins.
Yeah. Okay.
Or Fed
Well,
coin.
so
Or
I
Fed
actually,
coin, yeah, sure.
I actually have a name for it. I call it the Global Electronic Trading Coin.
Okay, that's even
What's
better.
happening?
And then if you take the
Yeah.
Get C.
so then
Get
it-
C.
It's
Get
pronounceable.
coin, right?
Yeah,
Get.
right.
get because
Oh, that's
you
good.
know you
Yeah.
get
That's
it for
good.
free.
Hey,
What you
Omar,
bro?
hey, that's
You like
good
that,
right
huh?
there. I like
Right.
that.
What you, bro?
I like that.
Yeah,
I see what you
so-
did there.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Okay, yeah. So
My biggest problem with that system was how am I going to make sure people don't cheat the system?
Yeah.
Because okay, so on the one hand, you're going to have individuals trying to create multiple accounts
Mhm.
with different registrars, but all these registrars would have to have one database so that, like, if you created an account with one, you won't be able to go create an account in another city with another one,
Okay.
and so forth. So, okay, so let's say you solve that problem, right?
Mhm.
But how do you prevent the registrar himself from, like, creating fake
His own
accounts
Right.
or whatever, right? So how do you create this trustless system?
Right.
And that's where this whole blockchain thing, when I saw Bitcoin hit me, and I was like, we could use blockchain to make sure that nobody can cheat the system,
There's
Can't
no
right?
duplicate themselves.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's
And so the data can't be
Double alias.
manipulated,
Yeah.
right? So the data can't be manipulated,
Yeah.
and so that's where the connection is there. And
there's
so I was
so
like,
there's really no in that system. There's really no way because my immediate thought was like, how can I scam somebody?
No,
Get some more
absolutely.
because somebody's gonna
somebody's
not because
Yeah.
I would do that, but
Yeah, you would.
if I thought of
Somebody's
it,
thinking it. Absolutely.
but somebody's thinking it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But in that system, there's no way like the whole. I mean, that's sort of the. I missed this on the first iteration, but the key point of the system is that cap. There's really no way that a single account can maintain a balance beyond what that sort of deflationary tax is
Yeah,
for any
you
length of
can,
time. I mean, you
you
can.
You
But
but
it's
you
can.
have
not-
to have money coming into that.
Yeah, you have to
account
keep
faster
filling it
than
back up, right?
What's being taken out?
You
right?
could
Yeah.
like I couldn't just like knock off Mark or catch somebody at a bad time and say, all right, Mark, like I know you got some get coins over there. Let me,
No doubt.
I'll give you
Let me
some,
get those.
I'll give you
Let me
some
get
bread.
Right.
For all your
for
Bitcoin.
more. Yeah,
But you
yeah.
could though.
But that's where
You could,
You talked about,
but then it would filter back
socialism.
out.
But I'm saying, and I'm thinking, there is an aspect of capitalism in it.
Oh yeah.
In that,
If I have something of
You know what?
value,
paying for time,
It's
time is
important.
value. But
Right.
it's not just time; it's what I know versus
Yeah.
what you know.
Yep.
You would
That's
pay
it.
me a little bit extra to
Right.
get some fix that you didn't know how to.
Because each
or
of us
something
is
like that.
gonna
Yeah.
specialize in
In
something, and
That's
we're gonna
right.
try to produce something that we could offer to others,
Yeah.
Right.
and then try to get those
Right.
coins.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now I'm not just getting my daily allowance,
No doubt
but
about
I'm
it.
getting more than that.
On
For my
top of
skill.
And so now my account can
you
grow.
can grow.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can grow to whatever you want. You're only gonna
Right.
lose 2% per year.
Right,
Oh,
right,
but
I mean,
your
if you tell
daily remains the same.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you tell a company that you're only gonna lose like 2% per year,
Oh,
they're like,
yeah.
dude, we're already
Duh.
paying that in transaction
Like,
fees, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like nothing. That's a
Yeah.
Right.
no-brainer,
Yeah.
right? So you
Yeah, I
would,
know
you
some
would go
companies that
with
would be
that.
very happy to only lose
Yeah.
2%
You
a
just-
year.
Yeah, exactly.
You're taking care of a lot of the have-nots in a sense, where it's like
Absolutely.
there's just a steady
Oh,
pace
man.
Something coming
for
in.
Yeah.
hey, food, shelter.
But the overachievers
Overachievers can still
are
benefit,
rewarded. Yeah.
which for a competitive person like myself and that
Yeah,
guy, and I know
absolutely.
you are, like we would
You can still
certainly,
earn.
Yeah,
like,
so-
we'll figure
I'm
it out.
taking all yours, bro. Like
Right. So it's,
Yeah.
it's kind of
some
like.
kind of way.
But it's not a zero sum game. Like
Right.
that's the
Right.
so
That's
that was the
that's
first thing I
key.
caught.
Yeah.
Was it's not a zero sum game. So there's
Yeah,
so
different
I can
people could have different
level.
balances,
Right.
right? Like somebody might just be like, okay, I'm gonna spend everything I get every day.
No doubt.
Right.
And
But-
so
but
my
unlike
account
today-
is close to zero.
Always,
But
but it's that's cool.
somebody's
Yeah.
collecting.
'Cause
right?
somebody's
but
coming.
unlike today where the tendency is that the guy at the top of the chain is able to keep up with and accelerate beyond inflation,
Oh, for sure.
and the guy at the bottom of the majority at the
Still get
bottom of the chain can't keep up with inflation
Right,
because of the deflationary brake that's built into the system.
right.
these guys are kept a lot closer together.
It's more of a level playing field.
In terms of their buying power.
Yeah.
Right.
You
More
can
of a level
accumulate the
playing
coins
Initially.
and use them, but you can't, like, you don't get that runaway effect, the Bezos effect, where it's
Yeah.
just like he's collecting money faster than
No doubt about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the gap.
That
is,
gap is
and the gap is
insane.
increasing.
Right,
Right.
Yeah.
the gap
And-
is much.
So it's more of what they refer
Yeah.
to of like an
Initially.
egalitarian system.
It's a more
where
egalitarian
it's like
system.
more equal.
Or,
You know, you can. It's not, socialism in
Yeah.
a sense. I mean, it is
Right.
that
yeah,
you're providing a safety net,
right.
but there's capitalism also.
Yeah.
That's
Producers are
It's-
rewarded.
So you're not doing like what the
Yes.
communists used to do and say like, okay, everybody gets paid the same amount regardless of what you
I
do.
don't care
Right.
what you do.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right, like whether you're a doctor or whether you're a janitor, you're gonna get paid the
Same
same.
thing. Yeah.
So that's like, like a
Hardcore.
top down
Yes. Yeah.
controlling.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
Right.
Here, this is a bottom up system
Yeah.
It's a bottom up system.
where everybody just gets the safety net amount of money.
Yeah.
What you do with it is up to you.
No,
If you save
Mhm.
it, want to invest it in Tesla or something,
right.
Yeah.
have it grow. Hey, it's up to
It's
you.
up to you.
So
Producers.
so now
I
you
like
have
that.
and capitalists are rewarded.
you have a
Yeah.
lot more ingenuity coming out of people.
Hey, there's that word again.
I
get-
like
get-
ingenuity.
It's an engine, baby. We like that.
And,
Yeah.
and you get rid of what you get rid of though is people
Crime.
starving,
Theft.
Right.
people doing petty
I
theft
bet
just
that will
to
go down. That's right.
like get something to eat.
Whatever. Yeah, absolutely.
Just
Everybody can
because
eat.
they're-
So-
Some folks eat
So
steak
so what you're what
and shrimp.
let me see if I can rephrase this
That's
a,
really
a different
cool.
way.
Like, yeah.
One of the things that one of the things that we forget about or just gloss over in like American capitalism, most Western capitalism, is that the first transaction that you have to figure out how to do before you ever get into figuring out dollars and cents or bank accounts or investment accounts or anything like that, the first transaction you have to figure out how to do is how do I turn my time into
Value.
dollars
How do I make
or
more
whatever,
money?
or rubles, or whatever.
Yeah.
And that first transaction
Mm.
is the part that we forget about, and
It's really good. John.
Right.
Yeah.
and it's but I mean that's the one
Absolutely.
that this sort of addresses that.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not about how you transferred your time into
Money.
Gitcoins or whatever. It's
What you
okay,
do with
you-
them.
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
This is
It's what
the
you do with the
time.
money.
This is what you got.
How do I make my money make money?
That's your money.
Exactly.
That's what
Exactly.
Now
And then live
everybody
off the
can
money
think
that my
about
money
that.
made. Instead of
Right.
living off
Well,
the money
yeah.
that I made.
I mean,
Right.
that
So
solves
that-
that part of the problem.
That's a very good point that you made there, because right now we are living in times where we need labor to make that initial amount of money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The only thing, if you come into this world like with a blank slate, you have
Mhm.
nothing, right?
Yep.
The only thing you can do is sell your time
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
collect some money, and then
Right.
maybe if you saved on that, then you can do something with that to grow it.
Right.
Now, imagine the future where human labor becomes less and less important because
Yeah.
we're going into automation.
Yeah.
That's
We
happening.
are
That
we are
is-
like
that's the now.
we're just like
Full speed.
full speed
Absolutely.
headed
Yeah.
into
The future's
automation.
already here. It's
You
just
better
not
learn a
evenly
new skill is
distributed.
what we're trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That skill's getting
and
taken
this
on
is
by
why
computer.
I feel that our current Federal Reserve based system will not be able to handle it, because if you know what Federal Reserve's mandate is, they have two mandates. One is to keep prices stable,
Mhm.
and the other is to maintain maximum employment.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Hey.
Yeah, nah.
Really?
Hey, you
Like,
better keep
It's
that
like,
minimum
yeah.
wage down.
like-
Yeah.
but what do you do when we don't need employment?
Yeah.
Like, what
Right.
do you do when
You better keep that minimum
robots can
wage
run-
down.
yeah,
robots
all
can
the
run the
burgers are
drive-thrus.
flipped by robots. All
Yeah.
the cars are
Right.
driven by robots. You
Yeah.
have factories.
Oh,
that are
because they're
run by
already
robots.
capable right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting
It's
there.
just a matter of
The
who
writing
decides
is
to
on the wall.
flip that switch.
And
Well,
machine
yeah, so-
learning and AI is just accelerating.
Yeah.
And so we're very quickly headed into a new reality
Yeah.
where human labor is not going to.
We're
be
talking about
valuable.
doctors.
It's not going to be valuable.
We're talking about
Right?
Yeah.
every
Yeah,
single
surgeries.
skill
Well,
that a
okay.
human can do.
Yeah.
Think about
At this point, a computer
it's
can do.
it starts with things that are
labor
learning
intensive.
based, labor
and
intensive,
repetitive.
and repetitive.
Right.
Okay.
But slowly,
Now, and you
it
think
goes up the
like
scale.
yeah, and so the thought is that okay, well that's like some factory guy, right? True, but the factory guys have already been dealing with that because we've had industrial robots for 20, 30 years now.
Phonetic.
But we're also talking about pharmacy technicians, like my daughter. We're talking about people that are doing document processing, where they're picking a piece of info.
Did you say processing?
Yeah,
Is it something a processor could do?
Right,
Right,
exactly. Anything like that is like it's already on the table.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about
Yeah.
doctors and
Lot of
lawyers,
people
It only
forget-
has to be
sorry,
programmed.
lawyers, you better start making
a
some
lot
laws
of people
now.
forget
Yeah.
that the word computer was a job.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
What?
yeah, your job
Yeah.
was a computer. If you go back and look at some of the videos
You
from
compute.
like 1930s and 40s, the banks were still there,
That was a computer.
but the banks
Wait,
didn't
Well,
have
what
to.
was
Explain this to me,
what's the
'cause I
show?
don't get-
What was the
like, what?
movie?
They
Well, they
compute.
would have
There's
these
the
big
processing.
halls full of open desks,
Right.
and there would be rows and rows of people sitting there doing the calculations of how much interest did you get on your savings account this month.
Computer.
Uh-huh.
Dennis
You did
the
all
Menace's
these
best friend was a
transactions.
computer, bro.
What's your new balance?
PB.
So
Wow.
I mean, there
was
was
called
that's how banks
computer?
did it. Yeah.
But no,
These
the
people
what
that
was the
did
show with
Like
the
we're
ladies,
hiring
the Apollo
computers. Yeah.
ladies that
It was
Oh,
a
to
title. It
compute.
was a job title.
there was the movie
Yeah.
where it
That's
was the
Yeah.
four
It was
ladies,
a
four
job
black
title.
ladies
I
that are
remember.
helping with the Apollo program.
I know what you're talking
That
about.
is
I don't know.
crazy.
And so
That's
you
what
know,
that was their
something like
job. They were
driver
computers.
might be a title
Women were
that
computers back in the day.
Yeah.
Driver.
Car-
Yeah,
Right,
so-
right,
I'm
so-
not a
They weren't
driver.
programmers, they
Right?
weren't
We don't
coders,
need
they were
drivers for
computers.
like
Yeah.
Uber or whatever.
No doubt.
You just
Those
cars
are- they
are
just-
drive, right?
Do
It's like
they
you-
just
you-
do the action now?
Yeah.
So that's-
It's an
so-
adverb.
So we're gonna lose all of these jobs. They're
Wow.
gonna become
I never
automated.
knew
It's just
that.
programming,
You know,
bro.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of
Yeah,
programming.
It's
That's
just
crazy.
it's just
Yeah,
a matter
it's a matter of
of time,
programming.
and it's
And then machine learning has enhanced it.
So we're
and the
gonna-
window on that
is
is
a job.
decreasing.
So if we don't accept this reality,
Mhm.
we're gonna be fighting automation. We're gonna be constantly
way.
fighting automation
Mhm.
Yep.
instead of accepting automation to make our lives better.
That's
Well-
what's going on right
well,
now.
we're so we're going to be as in the people who
Society
are losing their
that-
jobs are
Mhm.
going to be fighting the automation.
Well,
Gotta
not
get
so
rid
much
of
the
the
people
jobs.
that
Also-
are losing the jobs, but the people whose job it is to make sure everybody has a job.
Right.
Like the
Yes,
Federal
100%.
Reserve
Right.
cannot keep that mandate.
But then there's
Cannot keep that
but
mandate.
what
We're
we've
not-
already got happening, have already seen happen again over the past 50 or plus years, is that there's somewhere else who doesn't have the same mandate on their Federal Reserve that will come in and say, well, we don't care about that. We're gonna do this.
Mhm.
We're gonna automate everything,
Yeah.
and then our prices are gonna drop through the floor,
I'm telling you.
and we're gonna make shit tons of money because
Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
better keep the minimum wages down.
And we've kind of been like skirting this
As soon as
because
that happens,
we're not
we'll flip
like
the
we've
robots.
had we went through the industrial revolution and now into the information
right.
revolution, and we've been able to skirt that problem somewhat because the information revolution absorbed a lot of new jobs that
Mhm.
were getting like all these factories, like people didn't have jobs, and so the information IT jobs were just like sucking up all
Mhm.
these people.
Yeah.
But eventually, that's not gonna last forever. You're gonna have systemic loss of
gonna have peak
jobs
IT.
with no job to replace it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than hey, you can go on vacation your whole life and have a UBI.
I am legend.
Yeah.
So
Well,
That's why
if
in
you
the-
think
in the-
about
in
it,
the-
our
in the
lives are getting
robots,
better.
The
That's
last, the
that's
last,
iRobot.
iRobot, that's
Yeah.
it.
I Am Legend
Yeah,
is the one
iRobot.
where everybody turns into
iRobot.
vampires.
I don't know if y'all saw. Did
As-
y'all
As,
see the
as a
latest
result of the
commercial?
coronavirus vaccine.
Mhm.
Did y'all see the latest commercial from the World Economic Forum?
No.
Do you get commercials from the World Economic Forum?
I do. I follow them. on
These
Twitter.
are,
Oh, okay.
okay.
What I mean, but yeah, I mean.
So it was, this
Claus.
wasn't. So this wasn't like on
We're going there
ESPN.
right now.
This wasn't in the middle of the Super Bowl.
It was on ESPN, but you wouldn't have known if you wasn't looking for it.
Yeah.
No, but and so in it there was a little phraseology that said, "You will own nothing, and you will be happy."
Wow. Well, scared. Now Mark is scared to call everybody this week.
Right. Right.
We just handed the baton off to Mark.
Yeah, Mark's got the scare baton this
week.
The
World Economic Forum?
Yep, WC. Look at it. Yeah. You will own nothing and you will be happy. This was slipped in. I don't want to say slipped in, but this was a part of their marketing.
Right.
But
and that could happen, right? Because like if you just want to live off your daily UBI, you could. I mean, when you have more automation, what that UBI buys you increases.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So the 10 points that you were getting in a world where we had a lot of demand for human labor, that wouldn't buy you as much. But in a world where you have like full automation, man, that could buy you everything.
Well, you know, the thing is that like that comes back to ultimately. So we have lived in a world for thousands of years where human labor was very much in demand because that was the bottleneck.
So much in demand that we used to take people's enslave them.
Right, exactly.
For that human labor.
Right.
Pyramids.
It was
keeping costs down.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Like just no.
That was keeping costs down.
Right. But we're headed towards a world where human labor is not worth the trouble.
Right.
But we still have resource limitations. So the people who control, we're going back to the state where whoever controls the lithium or the silicon or whatever, I'm getting that too. is going to be who control. Like that's where the resource constraint will be, because it's not a labor constraint anymore. It's a physical resource constraint.
Right.
And small robots can't lift more than 8 pounds either. So.
I don't know. Check Boston Dynamics. They make a liar out of you.
That's small robots.
The small. I
guess it depends on.
So there's another
microscope.
Large scale thing that's at play. So one is that we're getting more and more automation. The other is that we're starting to become like we're probably going to leave this planet and become
for sure, galactic.
Planetary, then interstellar, and then maybe intergalactic civilization.
Take over planets.
Exactly. I mean, take over Mars.
We're going to Mars.
Moon and things like that.
We're going to the moon.
And part of being able to do that will mean that you can live a lot longer than 100 years.
Well, because you go to sleep for 7 years trying to get there, and then
maybe.
Yeah, because you might spend 100 years just getting there, and you go into this deep sleep. So 100 years, nothing after that, right? Wow. So you get there and wake up and like, oh, great, that was like 5 seconds it took me to.
You're 7 years old.
From here to there.
That's whenever the passenger movie thing.
Now,
time capsule.
Now, getting old is also there's a YouTube channel where their logo is getting old is getting old.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I saw that in China. They created something that is reversing aging.
Right.
Right. There's a thing saying that aging is a disease, and we have a cure.
Something I follow a lot, which is the work that's happening right now in anti-aging and age reversal, which is phenomenal. What's happening, and we're probably
Benjamin Button came to life.
Potentially,
crazy.
Potentially. So I mean, we can right now keep cells. We can reverse their age in a petri dish. We just need to figure out how to do it in vivo, right? In a person. But so that kind of stuff is going to cause the population to go up. And if you think about it, currently our lives are based around knowing that we're going to die someday.
Yeah.
And then we figure out like, okay, how much do I need to save for my retirement? And then we save to make sure we have enough for retirement, so that we don't run out of money. But what if
let's figure out Corona?
What if you don't know how long you're going to live?
Right.
How much money are you going to save?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So we've actually that is something we've been dealing with like in real time, because the difference between somebody set somewhere along the way 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, set a retirement age, at 65-ish.
And I think it used to be even less than that.
It used to be even less than that.
Yeah.
And that was fine for Social Security and retirement plans and all that kind of stuff because basically everybody was dying at 70. So you only had to fund them for 5 years.
72.
And now people, now the people are living longer and longer and longer. They're also, in a lot of cases, requiring a lot more health care. Yeah. So so that cost is going up.
Right.
But if we're,
long-term care.
One, if we're living longer, with medical interventions, that changes the cost curve. But if you're also able to work longer, then if you're able to work productively until 75 or 80,
or
and
even an enjoyable life, maybe you're not even working.
Yeah,
your job is just to go tour the world.
Well, because you're stressed.
If you're working on something that you want to work on,
exactly.
Because I enjoy most of what I do.
Yeah.
I have no great desire.
Be creative.
I just want to be able to take off whenever I want to.
Yeah,
I just want to be able to take a vacation when I want to take a vacation. That's all.
So that's the other thing, right? Because we don't if you live forever,
mini retirement,
you don't know how much to save. So that's why you need a UBI.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that way you don't have to worry about saving at all because there's this constant, steady stream of money coming in. So, but so there's so many things that our current our current systems are going to be broken when we look at this future of where we're trying to go. Yeah. So
it's too much to freaking figure out today.
Right.
Yeah. All right. We're not gonna figure it out today.
No.
Right? And
this was good.
This is a great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So I hope that
great topic.
And blockchain is gonna allow us to be able to create these kind of systems where people can have a rule-based monetary system like this, like Getcoin, where everybody receives some UBI, and you don't need a privileged entity to make the decisions about how much elasticity there should be in the money.
Right.
So that's the main thing I want people to realize is that blockchain came just in time.
Yeah.
Right.
Just in time.
Just in time.
Because we're gonna need this.
Yeah.
To go to where we're planning to go to.
No, this has been great, man. If y'all didn't know what blockchain was, hopefully you have a better understanding of the transparency that it's going to bring, how it's going to continue to close that gap right now from the 1%ers to the poppers, right?
Yeah.
And just give complete transparency in transactions, all right? Eliminating a lot of the third parties from taking the chunk off and your data being thrown every which way, right? And having all these spam calls and all this.
Give us the opportunity for a more egalitarian system.
Yeah, right? And not necessarily socialism. So don't look at it like that way. Okay? But no, it does put us on the equal playing field, and then the decisions based from that point on will show, right? So, no, man, this has been great, bro.
Yeah, thanks, Omar.
This has been great.
Hey, no. I'm kind of like going around and talking about this to everybody that I can because I see this as kind of like the world needs to wake up to realize that we can't just keep going forward the way we are.
You don't matter because robots can do what you do.
Right.
Period.
Is all I'm saying. Is what we're saying.
Yeah,
right?
It's a fact. But don't get it twisted.
But no, man, this has been awesome, and typically, Omar, we are
Thanks
sports.
for having me.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely, bro. We're sports and tech, man, and we didn't get to any sports today, even though Luka went ham last night. 2 clutch shots we can talk about on that Luka MVP watch. He definitely jumped up in the rankings, and you don't know if Porzingis is going to be here in 2 weeks, but
he brings nothing.
I never even got into the part of telling you guys how I wrote a football outcome prediction program on my Commodore 64.
Now we got to come back. Now we got to talk about
that. We got to bring you back, man.
Yeah,
don't tell Jones. He's somehow ended up time. I don't even understand.
Yeah, because Mark's over there football prediction. I'm like Commodore 64.
Exactly. That's good.
Yeah, man. No, but this has been excellent, man. And
Yeah.
we've really enjoyed the time and all your knowledge and information. We hope that you guys gained a lot of information. If you didn't know what blockchain was, hopefully you have a much better idea as to how it can help you and how it's going to affect the entire world. because it's here. It ain't going nowhere. Neither these robots, neither
That's right.
automated processes, man. So jump on board today, right? But what we will do is see you next week, right? On Noonish, sports, tech, coming hard. Omar, it's been great, bro.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you
guys.
so
Thanks a
much,
lot for
sir.
having me. Really enjoyed
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely, and we will
Peace.
see y'all. Peace.
Oh, Subway Records. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, oh.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
Whoa. I've been feeling the love, I've been feeling the vibe. I hope they can feel all the passion I put in it, and you see it in my eyes. Yeah, I'm coming up, you see the rise. So come out and play, I don't see the need to hide. I feel like I'm the last man standing. 4-5, sitting on my dresser like a bandit. Oh my, why you scared? There ain't no need to panic. I ain't on a wave that could sink the Titanic. Like why, ain't no need to cut ties. This is not the best time, aiming for the east or the west side. I rise when I feel a vibe from the night time.